But I have started as far as I remember, or it is not getting started up itself. See here. Yeah, it has been started now. Fine. Thank you, Ritik. So if you see right now CVE, just now we have discussed about the authentication of the SAML. So if we just go through this particular CVE, so what they are saying enables the attacker to bypass the signature. Make a note on to this. What we have just discussed, when you are signing as a IDP, that particular signing is going to give you non-repudiation. Non-repudiation means you cannot deny that you have done this particular task. You have signed it, means what? The user is being authenticated. And there is a one particular network Prisma Cloud Compute Console which is supposed to bypass the signature validation during the SAML authentication. Are you getting all the participants? Just look at the way it is moving. After that, this is one more vulnerability. See here, this is an authentication token what we are discussing. SAP HANA database, I do not know whether you have heard this or not, but there is a SAP HANA database except the SAML token, with the MD5 digest. An attacker who manages to obtain an MD5 digest signed SAML assertion issued for an SAP HANA instance might be able to tamper it, alter it, and the digest continue to be safe without invalidating the digital signature. And this allows to impersonate as a user in the SAP HANA database. MD5 hash algorithm, if you are using or if anyone is using to implement the SAML at their end, so which is a very weak encrypted hash algorithm. Take care about, because see, SAML is generated according to, or SAML is implemented according to everyone use. But right now, because of the poor implementation, there are different kind of vulnerabilities. The first vulnerability, we just say that it is going to bypass the digital certificate. Second vulnerability we are discussing, where the MD5 hash algorithm, which is supposed to be the weakest hash algorithm and can be easily cracked, can be cracked easily. And SAP HANA database was using the token with the MD5. An attacker can impersonate any of the user to be able to read the contents of the database. Are you getting my point, all the students? So my view is to see that, okay, what are the standards? You are not supposed to take care about the MD5. You are not supposed to take care about the, the weak authentication protocol. Where you need to go for, how exactly the vulnerabilities are being introduced. Now, just look at the third one. Yeah. See here. PySAML 2 is a pure Python implementation of the SAML version. Before this version has an improper verification of the cryptographic signature vulnerability. Users that use the default crypto to backend need to verify the SAML documents are impacted. Does not ensure the signed SAML document is currently signed. Again, the way the certificate is being generated, the way you are coding to generate the certificate, the way you are implementing the standard algorithm to generate the certificate. Now, yesterday we were discussing with one of the session, you can say, not exactly the session, with one of the meeting. Meeting is that every time you are going to generate the certificate, so do you need to really bother the certificate if the request is going to come from the internal network? No. Self-signed certificates are really going to give you the good understanding if the request and the response is going to go from the internal network. But whereas if you go from the outside network, you need to get the certificate from the signing authority. And what the signing authority is going to do? Signing authority is going to take care, overall going to evaluate your system, and then according to that, it is going to grant the certificate to you. Now, so these are the different kind of vulnerability. There is one more vulnerability. Last year it has been reported, Tableau server installation. See here, that allows the APIs to be used by unauthenticated users. Are you getting? Again, this is authentication because SAML is authentication protocol. So this is the thing what we have. It's not about that putting your username and the password. It is a safe, nothing. The way you are transmitting your data, the way you are transmitting your information, please take a note. Based on that only the data you can say how safe the transmission is. Based on that, even if you are developing your web applications right now, so just make sure about that putting the user credentials is not the thing. If you do remember the Google, Yahoo, any of the mail services or Rediff, Hotmail, they are really asking right now for the two-phase verification. Why? Because that's what we have discussed. Something you know, something you have, and someone you are. These are the multi-factor authentication. So even if any of this particular thing fails, still I'm into the good situation with respect to my account. I have received 2 to 3 years back or 4 years back one particular message. The person was saying my Yahoo account is being hacked. It happens. So the way you are taking care about, the way you are going to be with your vulnerabilities. See here, SAP HANA database does not correctly validate the username when performing SAML bearer token based user authentication. So when you do like that, how exactly the things are going to work? Because this particular token based user authentication that's what it is being generated over here in the response. And if it is not getting done properly, the things are really going to be in a different mode. So that is a major reason why I would like to show you the different kind of vulnerabilities which are being reported. See here, huge different kind of vulnerabilities are there. Let me show you the vulnerabilities with the Kerberos. Let me share my screen again. So see here, different kind of vulnerability. Although taking care of, okay, this is the authentication token, or these are the authentication protocol. But the way they are being implemented, everything is really based on the implementation. There is a nice article about that. Who is responsible for the introducing the vulnerability? Is the infrastructure developer? Is it a software developer? Is the business analyst? It's a quality assurance team? Or who it is? Everyone. See here. Just look at. Could allow an unauthenticated remote attacker to impersonate the Kerberos KDC and bypass the authentication on the affected device. Are you getting, dear students? See here. So if you are developing your dissertation project, that time you are saying that, okay, your username and the passwords are getting matched from the database. But take a note onto this. What if the database is not running? Are you able to log in into your system? Are you getting what I mean to say? You stop the service of the database and try to see, are you able to access the system? Are you getting, dear students, what I mean to say? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? So just go through. So let me share, these links with you. Just go through those links. Let me share this link as well. Just go through that. So that's what I'm all about the SAML as well as the Kerberos. Now let me share my screen once more. And now the image, I do require any guesses from your side at what this image is all about. This is OpenID Connect. Yes, now can you tell me? I'll take this image. Yeah. Please let me know what this image is all about. Depends on whatever we have discussed. Yes, dear students, I'm giving you 4 to 5 minutes. Just go through that image and anything you can always talk to me.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, I was wondering how end-to-end encryption works.
How?
End-to-end encryption, like WhatsApp, end-to-end encryption. How?
End-to-end encryption. Yeah. This is
Yeah,
not a part of the course, but if the time remains at the end, for sure we will discuss. Okay? So let us
yeah.
get over with the syllabus first and then we will discuss.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, I have an confusion with the OpenID itself.
Yes, Tanmay, tell me.
Ma'am, actually, I have a confusion with the OpenID.
You have a confusion in?
OpenID, ma'am.
Yes.
I'm a bit confused. Like OpenID, ma'am, is because few days back, not few days, last week, you covered the concept of federated identity, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, I got confused in that a bit. Like, is federated identity you just need to enter the user credential once, and it gets it gets passed to each and every site where you are logging in. And ma'am, so OpenID and federated identity are those same?
To implement the federated identity, SAML, OpenID, and OAuth. These are the protocols.
Okay, so ma'am, but in OpenID, what exactly happens? Like the
That's
same
what
your
I'm
user
asking. That's
credentials
what I'm
gets.
saying. That's what I'm asking you. It's just the guess what I mean
Okay,
to say. Okay, just look
okay,
at the
okay.
diagram and just let me know what it is trying to go for.
Yeah, ma'am, I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Ma'am,
Uh-huh.
ma'am, I think this is the combination of Kerberos and SML.
Okay, SAML.
Yes, ma'am, SAML.
Yeah. Tell me how it is.
Ma'am, because in the Kerberos we are requesting to the server for the generation of the session key, and in the SAML we are requesting the browser to generate a token so that we can log in into the application.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And here in this diagram, it is showing both the features of both the things.
Okay. How?
Because first, the browser is interacting with the application,
Mm-hmm.
requesting the page that is the part of SAML, and then it is requesting the authorization request from the server for the generation of the key. So it is a part of Kerberos.
Okay. Okay. Good
And
point. Who is it?
according
Palak?
Avi,
Avi. Good. Good. Good notice. Yeah. Next. Whoever. Who else? Hello. Hello. Yeah. Who is next?
Ma'am, I just understood. Like I tried to understand the diagram. I can't say like it's a combination or something. That's not coming to my mind. What I
Just.
understood is, ma'am, like from the browser, you are basically
Just give me
requesting.
a second. Just give me a second. Yes, Tanmay. Tell me.
Ma'am, I'm not sure that whether I will be like proper correct. I don't
Fine.
know, but I just tried. Like
Yeah.
in the
Tell me.
by the diagram, it shows like the browser is there, application is there, whatever. So basically, you request the page, like you request that particular thing, whatever you call it, a web page or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You request that thing to browser, and now then
Mm-hmm.
it gets redirected to application there you can save, and there basically you have to enter your details where you get the identified the identification is done there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the authorization request is then sent to the authorization server, and that's where it is written as OpenID provider.
Okay.
Then again,
So
as it goes on, it gets redirected to the login page because you have to enter the username and password or whatever, and then as and when you submit the page, the web page, then you get authorized and you get redirected to the application which you want to access, basically the data, and then as you get access to the data, there is some session maybe I'm guessing which gets generated. Because of that reason, tokens get generated because you need an identification number to access everything. That is what the server will need to identify you as a user. So after that, as and when you like validate the things, the token gets returned, and maybe you log out and something like that.
okay, fine. Which one do you think so it is really nice? SAML or
I
OpenID?
I guess SAML because it's more secured as a application layer.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Because I read yesterday a few things about SAML, like it's used in the banking systems more,
Uh-huh.
financial corporations.
Everywhere the SAML is being used. Everywhere.
Yeah, ma'am. I read on the Azure. It
Uh-huh.
used widely in the cloud applications as a.
Yes, so anywhere in the distributed, whenever any of the distributed, the networks are going to take care about the authentication, that time the SAML is going to be used more and more. And since it is distributed, it is quite complex. And since it is quite complex, that means, as we have discussed earlier, complexity of the system always introduce the vulnerabilities into the system. Are you getting my point? Complexity
Yeah.
in the system is always going to introduce the vulnerabilities into the system. Okay, so let me share my screen again. I would like to show you the vulnerability with the OpenID. See here, these are the vulnerabilities with the OpenID. Medium to critical, how the web application developer chose to employ the OpenID library. Again, everything is really based on the developers. How do they implement? When if your source code is available, but according to your requirement, it has to be customized. And during that particular customization, only you are introducing the vulnerability into your system. Because, for example, let me show you the example of the customization. Fine. The example of the customization is like that. Okay, I would like to customize the drop down. Fine, I would like to customize the drop, or I would like to customize the way the message is being sent over the network. Fine. So OpenID, the source code is ready. The source code is available to you with some sample. What you can say, the template. Now you are supposed to customize this. But during the customization, you said, okay, the message should be like this, the protocol should be like this, and blah, 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 whatever the things are. But you never thought of the customizing the way what you can say, the certificate, not exactly the certificate, the token is getting generated. The way the message is getting encrypted. You just say, okay, the MD5 is really going to be good. But MD5 is quite weak algorithm for the encryption. Are you getting my point? So SHA-226 or the SHA-128, as far as I'm aware of, 256 is really a good algorithm to take care about. So these are the things when you take care about the distributed application, or when you say there were some dissertation project with whom the students were taking care about the attendance, remote attendance system, or there are many devices who are going to connect to the server for the attendance management. Again, you are targeting the distributed nature. And when you are targeting the distributed nature, the to and fro of you need to take care about that transmission channel. You need to take care about how the information is. So SAML can be there, OpenID can be there, OAuth can be there, which distributely going to authenticate the user. And anyone can ask you the question that if there is a whole lot of problem in the distributed, why don't we use the centralized? We can use the centralized, but it may go down with the single point of failure. So we cannot afford to go with the centralized authentication. The performance is also going to be very poor. So we need to have the distributed authentication, and for that, these are the protocols which defines that how the information is getting transmitted. Are you getting, my dear students, what I'm saying? So even if you are developing your dissertation project, try to understand this particular thing, that how exactly the information is getting transmitted. You have developed one HTML page or one JavaScript you have written behind the scene. How exactly the credentials are getting passed, how the JavaScript is handling the backend programming, how the certificate is getting generated, how the certificate is getting passed from one end to another end. Those are the things what you really need to take care about. Are you getting my point? So even if you say your system is secure, fine. Just anyone can ask you this particular thing. Okay, just log in, put the database server down, and just let me know whether the password is getting, user is getting logged in or not. As simple as that. So this is the vulnerability. You haven't tested this thing at your end. You haven't tested. So input validation. And what is the first thing you need to understand while taking care about the vulnerability? That every input is untrusted. Please do take care about. This is a fundamental concept you need to work with, that every input is untrusted. Are you getting my point, dear students? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, every input is untrusted. The only reason is because based on the input only, your system is going to take any of the action, going to exploit the vulnerability or going to give you the nicer output. You cannot say. That's why we always talk about that every input is untrusted. Fine, so just take a note. I believe you are able to follow me what we are discussing. This is the OAuth images. Yeah. Now, can you tell me this particular thing? OAuth, open authentication.
Ma'am, what is Cyber Resource Server doing?
Where is that?
Ma'am, third
Sybil
component.
is no, it's a resource server. It can be working, yes, validate access in tokens. See here, don't you think so? It is working as an identity provider.
Yes, ma'am.
Going
Yes,
to
ma'am.
generate the token.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a quite big and huge world, my dear students, when you go with the vulnerability to take care about your application, because you really do not know what is the scope of this application. So these are just the points what we are discussing, where you can take care about the introducing the vulnerabilities. So first of all, you need to actually see the CVE as well as CVSS. CVSS is the nothing but the common vulnerability scoring system, as far as I remember, and which basically rate the vulnerability, the impact of it, and how exactly the vulnerability can be reproduced. Take care of that. So CVE is just going to display it, but more of the scoring of that particular vulnerability you are going to get by CVSS. Right? Anyone would like to tell me now what is the OAuth is going to do?
Ma'am, it is working as a authenticate as a IP in what is
IDP.
that? IDP. Yes, ma'am.
IDP. That is
Yes.
a Sybil. That is Sybil. But OAuth server. So again, see
Identity
here.
provider.
Yeah.
Identity provider.
Whether it is a SAML, whether it is a OpenID, or whether it is a OAuth, three of them are going to actually access the or create a token and take care about the validity of that particular token. So SAML uses the digital signature to take care about the validity, but here is a process who is going to validate the token into the OAuth as well, OpenID as well. There is a process to validate the token, but not in the SAML. The reason behind that is because the SAML is getting used in a huge what you can say base. Every time if there is going to be a process for validating the access token, the entire and what you can say the performance will be very low, because every time the process is going to start, and that is a major reason why we go for with the digital signature, where IDP is going to say that okay, this particular token or the certificate is being digitally signed by me and the user is now authenticated. Are you getting what I mean to say? So if someone asks you that what are the authentication protocol and how exactly the SAML, OpenID and OAuth are working, so you need to be aware of. You need to see the difference. You need to see the vulnerabilities into the OAuth, OpenID as well as the SAML. Let me show you the vulnerabilities into the OAuth. Yeah, let me share my screen again. So see here, common vulnerabilities. Open redirector attack is there. There are various different kind of vulnerabilities with the security. So ultimately, since they are the authentication protocol, so the vulnerabilities are with respect to the impersonation, with respect to the session hijacking, with respect to the changing the signature or changing the hash map, or with respect to the disconnecting the IDP or asking the IDP to actually wrongly identify the user. These are the different kind of things. As an authentication protocol, these vulnerabilities are really important, because ultimately it's what the impersonation, it's what the session hijacking, it's what the without bypassing the digital certificate, you can say. Because of that particular thing, the attacker is able to access it, any of the data. So just make sure about whenever you do the registration, you need to make sure about if application is forcing to access the data from the database, right? All the students, so let me share this particular link with you as well. Let's go through that. And I do not know, but what you are going to do into your career, but just make sure that every time, just it's not about the software developer. You would like to become a software developer. Is the way by which you are programming your development or you are programming your solution. How exactly vulnerability? So just make sure. So it's been 4 years now. I'm in the security domain, but now then soon I started realizing the fact that where exactly the developers are making the mistakes. And because of that particular thing, the huge lot of the vulnerabilities are going to be introduced. Are you getting all these, students? So make sure. So for sure, Ahmed, we are going to discuss the encryption if there is time remains. Fine, Ahmed?
Ma'am, can I ask you one thing?
Yes, Tanmay.
Ma'am, can you just tell me in short, like what's the basic difference between encryption and cryptographic something? Cryptography, sorry.
Encryption is the output of cryptography.
Okay.
Encryption is the output of cryptography, you can say, because cryptography is a process or a method which may actually, give the different kind of, the transmit or the you can say the changing or going to actually change the sequence or change the text or replace the text. So that's what the encryption is.
So, ma'am, so if someone in the communication line, when suppose two or two, three devices are communicating between each other by data packets, and
Uh-huh.
those data packets are being like converted into hash values, so that can be called as a cryptography or encryption.
My dear, encryption. Cryptography is going to have this. Cryptography is a process. Are you getting
Okay.
my thing? Encryption is a implementation of that process.
Okay, 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 okay,
Fine?
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Anyone else?
No, no, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in literal terms, what's the definition of OpenID authentication?
These three are the protocols.
Yeah, ma'am,
They,
what does they do? What do they provide?
they provide the authentication, Palakjit. In the
Yeah, ma'am.
distributed environment, how the user credentials or the passwords are getting transmitted, how the identity provider is going to say that this is a legitimate user, how the service provider is going to say that okay, this is a legitimate legitimate certificate, how this certificate is going to be granted to the user, and based on that the session is going to be created. So all these processes, these three things or these three protocols are responsible. That's why we say these are the protocols by which the authentication request and response are generated. Fine, Palakjit.
So, ma'am,
So
in what terms
TCPC,
are they
TCP
different?
is also, just hold on, TCP is also a protocol. UDP is also a protocol. Why? Because they are using in a data transmission. Here, these protocols are being used into the user credential transmission and generating the token or the certificate. Any question, Palakjit?
Okay, ma'am.
Fine? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. So I will be taking your attendance right now. PRN 8,
Present, ma'am.
9, 15, 18, 19,
Present, ma'am, 19.
20,
Listen, ma'am, 20.
24.
Present,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
18 is also present. He's written
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
chat.
yeah. 29,
Yes, ma'am. 29.
36. I believe Himank was there. 37,
Present, ma'am.
38,
38 present, ma'am.
39,
Present, ma'am.
40, 44,
Present, ma'am.
47,
44 present, ma'am.
51,
51 present, ma'am.
53, 57,
57 present, ma'am.
53 is also
61,
present, ma'am.
61, 64,
Present, ma'am. 64 present, ma'am.
72,
72 present, ma'am.
73 present, ma'am.
74, 80, 84,
Ma'am, 84 present.
86, 87,
Present, ma'am.
89,
Present, ma'am.
93, 96,
96 present, ma'am.
103, Krishnan,
Yes, ma'am.
104,
Present, ma'am.
Ahmad, 105, 107, 109. Fine?
107.
Yeah.
Yes.
All the best, dear students.
Thank you, ma'am.